Here's my version of a 2x72 belt grinder. One of the biggest questions I had when I started this build was to actually get dimensions. So I'm going to start that off right here. From the end of the platen of the wheels to the center of the wheel, the dry wheel is 22 inches. The platen wheels height is 10.5 inches. From the belt to the alignment wheel is 16 inches. The base is 12 inches by, I want to say that's 16 inches. This is height is 10 inches right here. The arm, I put a 40-degree angle into it, and that was we'll get into later with this tension wheel to adjust that. But that's basically about 14 inches with, something like that, about 14 inches with a 40-degree angle built into it. Let's take a closer look at all of the components. So I think that this is the most important piece on the whole grinder. The adjustment wheel, you can see how we just notch those out to make them fit, put a bolt in there. This is not tight at all. We're not squeezing anything, but that gives us our camber adjustment, right? So, and then on the other side over here, you can see that is milled out about 1/4 inch wider right in here. I've got two toe or camber adjustment screws. So I just have the one bolt on the top, and then I can adjust the caster this way with those. So if you haven't ever done this before, trust me, make it like that, because it'll take a lot of the work. When you're trying to get all the adjustment from all 4 of those wheels to line up and to track that belt completely right, having that extra adjustment in there makes all the difference in the world. As far as the platen goes, it's pretty straightforward. You can adjust it in and out. I have a piece of 3/8 inch steel that's just bolted right onto, you can see there, just bolted right onto a piece of angle aluminum, and then I have it notched out so you can go back and forth. I have this notched out so that you can adjust the radius. Well, really what I've done with that mostly is that way I can square it up. You know, you can take a square and square this up to the front plate, and you know, if you're getting an even, you know, squared off grind on there. The wheels are 2.5 inches with a 1/2 by 1 1/8 inch bearing, just a cheap Chinese bearing, seal bearing, of course. And you know, that's they don't have to spin real fast. You'll see that when you get it done. And then I've got just little brass, you can see those. I just have a little 1/4 inch brass spacer that I machined out just to get it away from there, to get it all lined up on there. There's set bolt right here, which I'm going to put a handle on just so that you can slide the whole thing in and out. Same thing with the plate. This one actually is about 4 inches longer, just so I have some more adjustments. And with this, you can change, you can put, you know, I'm going to put different accessories on here so you can drill this thing out and tap it out. By the way, this is 1.5 inch just solid square aluminum stock, and you know, that comes with squared corners, so you don't really have to do anything. I have inside here, I have machined these 3 pieces that these rest on, that get bolted through the sides there. Those are 1 1/16 inches, so it gives me some room to, you know, to wiggle it. And same thing, it's about 1 1/8 inches, you know, opening from the, or I'm sorry, 1 5/8 inches inside there. So this thing actually has quite a bit of wiggle room in there, but once you tighten it down, it stays in place. And then with the adjustment on the platen, you can get that thing squared off to your plate. So having a little bit of extra room in here so you're not fighting trying to get those things in and out of there make a lot of sense. So, and then you can see that I've just got a piece of angle welded to this. This is a 1/4 inch plate deck, and then I just have it bolted on there to hold it all on. So, and then I decided to put a brass this is just screwed on here, right? So I just for a compression handle. Now, one thing I should tell you too is this is the shock absorber. What's that say? It says nitro dash prop strut and spring NP 1000-40. So I think it was like said it was 6 to 10 inch, and it's a 40-pound compression shock. So it doesn't take a lot to compress it down, but it does hold the belt pretty well. So let's go on to the motor. This is a 2 horsepower WEG, and if I can get this to focus properly, you can see some of the specs right there. You can see that right here it tells you how to do the wiring, which we can get into later. But that's a pretty powerful motor, and it works real good. And then I have this is, it's at an angle because I only have one bolt in it right now because I need to do something with these wires. So I don't want those raw wires hanging down. I'm gonna have to build some sort of a box or something in there for this thing. But this is a Tico FM50 Fluxmaster variable frequency drive. I like it. It's easy. It doesn't have a knob. It was one of the cheaper models. So you just adjust the speed. The top is the fastest it goes is 60. That's what is blinking there. But I found that once it's set, you pretty much just leave it there anyways. But one important thing to note about this is with this Tico, the FM50, there's different models. This is a 202-C, which means it's for a 2 horsepower motor. They have a 201 for a 1 horse and a 203 for a 3 horse. So you need to make sure that you get the right one, 240 volt of course, but get the right one that corresponds with the same motor that you have. So let me put a belt on it and we'll give her a test. All right, so pretty easy. That on there, give her a couple twists, make sure it centers up on there, and you hit run. And that's all you have to do. So if you want to make this thing, stay tuned.